All right. Thank you, Nicholas. Hello, everybody out there in internet land on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. I can see some folks joining on already, right on time as usual. We are here for another edition of the Irish Night of Blue live stream concert series. Just falls right off the tongue. Winding down, we're a little more than halfway through our schedule, winding up in the middle of December, and we're very happy tonight to host Mr. Nicolas Brown for a solo uilleann piping show, and maybe some other things. I don't know if you have any other instruments lined up for us tonight, but welcome. Great to see you, Nick.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Tom. I really appreciate it. It's kind of a weird experience because I've got the Zoom thing going to talk to you and to nothing else going because I don't want to screw up the internet. So I have no idea who's listening.
Right.
Oh well.
Well, you can go back later and look at all the comments. It's kind of fun that way. That way
Yeah.
you can just rail on everybody and they can't get back at you. But we
Nice.
originally were scheduled to have Nick play with his musical partner, Ali Perkins. Unfortunately, Ali had an accident with her hand, but is on the mend, I hear, and doing fine, but not quite ready to get back to the fiddle just yet. So we're very glad that she's making progress. And it happened to coincide very serendipitously with the release of Nick's first solo album, Good Enough Music for Them Who Love It. Did I get that right?
That's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's a funny title.
yeah, it's a historical title.
That's
You
right.
can buy it and read the liner notes like I did, and then you can all find out about that. I believe there's a link for that in both descriptions for Facebook and YouTube. There should be a Bandcamp link where you can go and buy the record. I did it, and I actually figured out how to get it onto my phone, and I'm in my 50s, so if I can do it, you can do it too. Early 50s. Uh, but it's great stuff. I only got to listen to about half of it so far. I'll be honest, just because my listening time is challenged these days. But I was in my car, put it on for a little bit. Great stuff, and I'm looking forward to really getting into it and letting it flip over and over again. So welcome, and welcome to all you out there. We're gonna have a great show tonight with lots of piping and lots of talk about piping. So if you're into that, you're in the right place. Um, Without further ado, if you're ready, sir, we'll turn it over to you for some great music. So,
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll go ahead and play a tune. The first track on the album. One of my favorite things. It's called Daniel the Son, or Donald Magrina. And what I did is it actually is in O'Farrell's Pocket Companion, which I'll talk about more later. Four different times. There's four different versions of it in there. So I took two of them and put them together and made this kind of big jig. So hopefully people like it.
all right.
Thank you very much. Um, yeah, so like I was saying before that, it's a bit strange or odd because I don't actually know who's listening, but we'll make the best of it. And it's okay because that's basically what I've been doing for 8 months, is just sitting here and playing this set of pipes, and no one listens. So I'll just pretend the same thing's happening, and you can enjoy what I've been doing for 8 months. So that tune was Daniel the Sun. It comes from a collection of music that about half of the stuff on the album comes from. It's called O'Farrell's Pocket Companion for the Irish, or Uilleann pipes, being a grand selection of tunes, both Scotch and Irish, suitable for the violin, flute, and flageolet. So the flageolet is a fancy French word for a tin whistle. So got to make sure those tin whistle players don't feel maligned because they have a little cheap instrument. And so the title of my album is Good Enough Music for Them Who Love It, and it's subtitled An Historic Selection of Tunes Played on the Irish or Uilleann Pipes. And so that's the set. So I actually got this set in December. The set of pipes was made sometime in the 1700s, probably no earlier than 1760s, and probably not any later than the late 1700s, 1790s or so. So somewhere in there. I think probably just based on style and everything else, it's probably around 1760, but it's really impossible to say because we don't know who made it and there's no marker on it. As I was putting together the set list, I kind of realized late that almost everything on it comes from O'Farrell's, and so these next things we're going to play are no different. These are two waltzes. The first is called the Salamanca Waltz, and the second one is the Waterford Waltz, which is marked in O'Farrell's Pocket Companion as coming from O'Farrell. So as far as I can tell, as far as we know, he did compose at least the second waltz. So here we go. Awesome.
Hey, Nick,
Yeah.
we're getting a really bad distortion. I hate to
Hmm.
interrupt you. Sounds great so far. Remember the bitrate thing? It's
Yeah, I don't have anything going, so I don't know how it could be. Yeah, I got nothing running besides Zoom. Hmm. I will just try turning things down a little bit, and maybe that will take care of it.
yeah, it sounds like there's some
Um,
kind of interference. You have natural sound on, right? Or original sound.
yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I turned it back on and off just in case. And
Do you have that new music setting,
yeah.
high fidelity
Yep.
music mode?
Yeah. I also had disabled echo cancellation, so I'm just turning that off so that I just have the high fidelity music mode and no echo cancellation. Maybe that will help. Um, I can
Yeah,
play
try
it.
that. That's
Okay.
how mine's set, I think.
Okay.
Um, Remember we had the same thing in the sound check.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had software running that I turned off, so that seemed to fix it.
Okay.
Um, but I don't have that running, so so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think there's anything else I can change,
All right, well, give
unfortunately.
it a shot. I'll come back on if it's awful.
Okay.
But otherwise, just
All
if you
right. Well,
turn down the gains a little bit, and people
yeah,
can
I
turn
did
their
that. I
computers up.
turned them down. Yeah, if it's too quiet for everyone listening, I apologize. They'll just have to turn things up on your end or use
Crank it up,
headphones or
folks.
something.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, we'll, we'll do our best. Um, so I'm gonna continue on. Hopefully, everything will work correctly. I'm gonna play a piece that comes from it comes from O'Farrell, sort of. He did not write it, but so O'Farrell was one of at least a couple pipers who played on Covent Garden on the stage there for a pantomime called Oscar and Malvina. And Oscar and Malvina is based on this series of oral mythology that was collected by a guy in Scotland, but in fact he made it up. So it's not real mythology; it's invented mythology, and it's based heavily on Irish mythology actually. So even though he said it was Scottish, it's based on Finn McCool and that mythology. So Oscar being, I guess, a stand-in. Actually, sorry, Oscar's dad, I think, being a stand-in for Finn McCool, if I recall correctly. So this piece I'm going to play is the overture to the play. And so it was actually composed by a guy named William Reeves, and I actually found the sheet music at the Library of Congress online, at least most of it. And it starts off with like 4 pages of like trumpets and drums and flutes and other martial type things, which I guess were just like mimicked on a harpsichord or a harp or a piano or something like that at the time. And it's definitely written for a keyboard instrument, so it's a bit of a strange piece of sheet music. But then it goes into the overture, and then a march, and then like a little interlude piece, and then another march, and then it goes back to the first march, and that's the whole overture. And so that actually got published in O'Farrell's, but he called it, he called it Oscar Malvina, and he said it was set for the pipes, and so he left out the little interlude part in the middle because it's in like G minor or some crazy key. It's really not possible to play on the pipes. But I liked it so much that I transposed it and put it back in. So I'm going to do that whole thing. And I'm going to do one other cool thing. So, like I said, this is a set from the 1700s. Very similar, I think, to what O'Farrell would have played. O'Farrell also wrote a tutor for the Irish or Union pipes. And in the tutor, he said that the style of the time was to only use the two long drones. I have 4 drones on this set of pipes. So I have a D, octave below D, and another octave below that D. And then I also have an A that's between the top 2 Ds. And so he said that the style was to only play the long 2 drones. And so in honor of that, I am going to do the same thing for this set. So the overture to Oscar and Malvina.
Hey, it was a lot better there for a while, and then just towards the end, it started happening again.
Hmm.
It almost
I
sounds like you got a bad cable and somebody's stepping on it, but I know that's not happening.
yeah.
It might just be an internet thing.
Yeah, I do have a cable plugged in, but it's pretty short and it's pretty direct, and no one's walking by it. So hopefully it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it was good there for a while, but then it just started again right the last couple of minutes there. So I'm not sure. I mean, we might just have to deal with it. Sorry, folks. If anybody has an idea of what could be happening, put it in the chat. There are better online sound men than me, but
Yeah. I could try switching over to Wi-Fi and hope that works, but I'd be worried of losing the connection altogether. Um, so I'll probably leave it for now, and then maybe on the break I'll try unplugging the Ethernet cable and see if that works better.
why don't we do the break now? Because it's just
Okay.
about 8:30 anyway, and
Okay.
give it a try. If you drop, just come back and join on the Zoom. I'll keep it going and talk to everybody. How
All right.
lucky you are, folks out there. Thank you for being patient out there. We appreciate it. Sometimes this goes smoothly, sometimes it does not. It looks like Nick may have dropped. Um, so
That's
maybe
okay.
when he
I'm
comes
still.
back with the Wi-Fi, maybe we'll get a better signal, or maybe he just muted his screen. I'm not sure. But thanks everybody for joining. We got a nice crowd tonight. This is Irish Night of Blue, coming to you live every Wednesday until mid-December, and then not. We'll see what happens in the new year, but it's not going to be a weekly thing. That much I've decided. But we do have a couple things planned already, and we'll try and get something online for you guys at some point here or there. Um, I'm going to wait to ask Nick questions about Nick because he's not back yet. But
I'm actually
oh,
still here. I can hear you just fine. Can you
oh,
hear me as
okay.
well? Yeah, I was just messing with the camera. So I think I just somehow by taking the Ethernet cable off, I think I destroyed my camera using my phone. So now I've got the computer camera, which is less flattering for sure, but it's also closer to the pipes.
Yeah, there you
So I'm
go.
not sure that it matters too much. Maybe I'll just leave that, and we'll hope for the best.
The
How's
interference is
everything
still
going on your
there.
end? Oh, it is. Okay. Hmm.
Um, let's see if anybody has any.
Sure. Well, I'll just go back to the cable then because I think that's probably best.
So Jeremy's saying it's giving it that real wax cylinder sound.
Just what I want.
It sounds like Will is saying it sounds like signal interference. I agree. It doesn't really seem to be related to the levels. It's
Yeah.
either it's a funky connection or a ground issue or just an internet thing, but it doesn't really sound like internet lag either. I'd say we power through it.
Okay. We'll do our best.
If you have any
Um.
way to drop your signal, the amount of signal you're sending, I think that's the only thing. And now you're a big orange square. There you go.
Yeah. I'm just messing with the settings here to try to come up with something. Yeah. I wonder. Let me. You know what? Let me do something here. Um. Let me. Oh. Wow. Okay. I don't need to be closer. Um.
We've been pretty lucky so far. We haven't really had too much of this happening, but it does
Yeah.
happen, and you
Yeah.
are pretty far away.
Right. Unfortunately. Um, yeah, I'm wondering if there's a way of, if anyone knows Zoom settings and how to turn down the video quality, maybe that would help if I was sending lots of video.
Do you know
Um,
the go to audio settings quick again? Let's
yeah,
just try one thing. Sorry, folks, bear with us.
yeah.
We'll keep the chatty part. I have the output volume is very high on mine, but I don't set it that way. It seems to creep up on its own. Where's the output volume on yours?
Yeah, I guess, well, I've got an input mic. I mean, the output is not all the way up, but that's really just for the speaker. So I would think the input is really maybe I'll try lowering my input a little bit. Maybe that'll help. So I lowered microphone input, and maybe that will help.
Okay. Was it peaking at all?
I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. So
Lower it a little more if you can, because I still heard a little crackling, but it does sound a little better. I'll let you know if it's
okay,
too low.
okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'll lower it a little bit more.
Okay.
So now we're about 60%, 70% now. So
Oh, you mean the
how are those
70% of the
numbers
bar?
related?
Yep.
Yeah, it's about 70% rather than.
It does sound a little better.
Really, or
I'd
how's
say
it?
if I come back on and tell you it's still crackling, maybe just bring that down to 50 because I can hear you
Okay,
fine,
sounds
plenty
good.
loud.
Okay,
So
cool.
sorry for the delay,
Sounds
folks.
good.
We're doing our best here. Now, getting live sound to you online in the apocalypse. We take this stuff for granted, but I like to remind my nieces and nephews that there's signals going through the air with music that's then coming into your computer where you can see and hear the person playing. When I was a kid, this was like Star Trek stuff. So
Yeah.
let's take what we can get and be happy with it. I was going to ask you to talk about the set, but you've already kind of given a good description of the set. It's older than I thought it was. That's really old. Where did you wind
Yeah.
up coming up with finding that?
So it's an interesting story, a little bit of an interesting story anyway. Joe Kennedy, who's a pipe maker up in Ontario, I have a B set from him. I've known him for a very long time. I think I met him less than a year after I started playing the pipes. My first concert pitch set is from him. In fact, I still have it. It's the concert pitch set I usually play up until December of last year when I switched over to this completely. And so he got this set from somebody in Ohio kind of randomly, maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. So I've known about the set for a long time because I've seen him, playing it, messing around with it, trying to get it working and everything. So he had told me that he would probably keep it, forever. But in the end, last year, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking of selling the set. Would you like to buy it?" And so of course I said yes because it's a really awesome set, and I'm really lucky to have it. So yeah, so that's how I got it. I got it from Joe. Joe made the Channer. The original Channer is unfortunately not playable. It's modeled after, if anyone is geeky and they know Ronan Brown and his Kana set or Kana set, um, it's modeled after that Channer. So same bore and stuff. And then I do have the original Channer, and maybe someday I'll get it playing. Yeah, so that's my
Okay.
geeky stuff.
Very interesting. I know we have some other piping nerds on here. Jeremy's asking if the original chanter was keyed up, since we talked about that before the Zoom tonight. You can
It,
let
it is it is not. It's completely keyless. So yeah, no keys on it at all. Of course, we also are fairly certain it's the original Channer, but it's hard to know for sure. There's no markings on it or anything. So and then the bottom of it was probably cut off, so we don't know if it was supposed to have a foot joint and might have been a pastoral Channer rather than a Uilleann pipe Channer. Um, we just don't know. So yeah, so it's not currently playable. It needs some repair work to get it going. Yeah.
very cool, very cool, and very cool tunes. Very interesting stuff. I've heard most of the O'Farrell stuff one way or the other at this point, but it's always interesting to go back and see how different it is and how they get the same at the same time.
Right,
Very cool.
right.
So a little history lesson and some great music on top of that. Um,
Awesome.
so I'll let everybody know. I did put the link again just while we were talking for donations for Nick. Please go there now. Go to the PayPal. You can, if it's not working for you to click directly, just copy the link and paste it into your browser, and it should take you to Nick's PayPal page. Give him a direct donation, and please be generous. It's hard times for musicians out there. It's hard times for traditional musicians in the best of times, and at the worst of times, it hits us the hardest. So send Nick some appreciation and some love in the form of cash, because that's how musicians really appreciate it the most. I'm sure they could use that. And then think about going to the link that I have in the descriptions there for Bandcamp and picking up a copy of the new CD as well. It's really great stuff, and you will not be sorry. Later on, I'll put another link in there for Blue, for the venue that we normally do this in every week, coming up on 15 years of weekly Irish gigs. They're having a hard time too, like all venues in the country. There's places you can go to wherever, whatever state you're in, wherever you are. You can look up what's happening in your state and support these organizations that are trying to raise money for small venues. They're trying to lobby the local governments and the federal government and everybody else to provide some support, which they absolutely should do. And we hope that we can keep the ones we have here in Portland and every place else going strong. So when we can come back safely, maybe not till spring, maybe not till summer, we don't know. But when we can, we want to do it in person again and sit around a table and play tunes because that's what we do. And it would be really boring to never ever do that again. So let's hope that there's some venues left. Do what you can in the meantime. But most importantly, please help out Nick tonight and give him what you can. Everything helps Blue and Irish Night as well. Come back next week. We have the wonderful Lindsay Straw and Jordan Santiago from the Boston area. They've been up at Blue before in person. We're going to do a nice show. So a lot of songs, most likely, and some tunes. Um, so come back and see us again. And then we're winding down. We got a bunch more good ones coming. Keep us in mind for your Wednesday night entertainment, folks. It sure beats Netflix. Uh, I can't say that. I love Netflix, but what are you going to do? Uh, all right. Well, without further ado, I'll leave it to you guys to be generous in the donation links and take that away. And I'll leave it to Nick to provide some more music. Hopefully, sans distortion. We'll see how we go, but we're going to power through now.
All right.
All right, Nick, take
Hopefully.
it away.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully everything works. I'm going to go ahead and just play some stuff here and try to power through a few things. So I'm hoping that my friends Robert Ryan and Patrick Kavanaugh and Eileen and Crystal and a bunch of other people who love Schlieve Luker music are listening in. I know both Rob and Patrick know how much I love polkas and how much I like to joke around about loving polkas. Polkas were invented in 1832. The dance was not invented until then. So there are no polkas in O'Farrell's. There are no polkas in Aird's or other collections from the 1700s because they had not yet been invented. However, there are tunes that work as polkas, so I'm going to play two of them. They're probably originally marches or songs or some silly thing like that, but I'm going to play them hopefully like polkas. First is called Captain Ross's Favorite, and the second one is Charming Molly. And Charming Molly has some similarities with the polka that's played today, and I cannot for the life of me remember which one. So feel free to comment and educate me. So yeah, a little bit of that polka in the middle there. by accident, more or less. Hopefully that's less distortion going on. I'm gonna go ahead and.
It's coming back again, Nick.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm gonna try turning down the volume just a little bit more, and
Yeah, it's the only thing I could think of. It's kind of low, but everybody just turn up the volume on your end. It's coming. It's definitely something coming out of
yeah. All right,
the
here we
signal.
go. We'll
Give it a
we'll do
shot.
our best. Apologize to everyone. Hopefully it distorted at the right time in the last set, and everything is all good. So I'm gonna continue on and skip ahead for a couple things here. So you'll notice on the album and in general when you look at collections of Irish music from that time period of the 1700s, there aren't a lot of reels. In fact, there's very, very few reels. And even when you look at Scottish music, the ones that are marked as reels are not often similar to what we'd expect now for reels in Irish music. And so things have definitely changed over the years, and reels came in much later. So there's not a ton of reels in the collection, and you won't see a ton of reels on the set or on the album either. I'm going to go ahead and try a couple reels now that I actually just learned the second one in the last few weeks. So after doing the album and everything and thinking I was, had gotten all the good tunes out of O'Farrell's, I found another tune. And so I started playing it with one that I was going to put on the album and didn't make it on. So this called The Braes of Moran is the first one, which is the second last tune in the collection. And then the other one you might recognize, potentially. It's supposedly the precursor to Rakish Paddy, and it's called Caper Fay. I'm not entirely sure that it really is a direct descendant of Rakish Paddy. I think there's quite a bit of change that happened before it turned into what we know now. So here we go, a couple reels for you. Make sure that my drone's not falling apart first. It's an old set and it's a little bit temperamental. So. All right. So I'm going to move on and play an air. that I got out of Farrell's, and it's interesting because it's unlike any other version of this that I've heard, except for one. It's the Blackbird, and so the common air for the Blackbird, I don't find a lot of similarity to it. I don't find the set dance to be all that similar to it. There's a really nice barn dancey thing that Nicolas Brown and Cleveland O'Reilly recorded, and there's a reel after it. I don't find it similar to any of those. However, there's a really lovely recording of a singer, one of my favorite singers, actually, Paddy Tunney, singing the Blackbird, and his melody that he uses is this one. So I don't know how common that is as a melody in the singing world, but it's really gorgeous, and I really love this air. So I'm gonna play this for you with the Blackbird. Again, just to make sure everything's still good. All right. blast ahead with another thing. So one of the things I really love about this set is that there is no drone stop key, so I cannot turn the drones off, which means that I got Joe to provide nice earplugs, which work really well to stop the ends of the drones, and also for people who do not find bagpipes good enough and who would rather not hear them. They can plug their ears with them, or they can just leave. I'd be fine with that too. So I'm going to use that to turn this set of pipes into a tiny little set of bagpipes, of Highland pipes, by using this handy string, using the A drone, and using the bass drone, and I now have what I like to think sounds like a little set of bagpipes. And so I'm going to play a march, and this is a jig march. It's called Lostrum Pony, and you'll recognize it as being a version of Langstern Pony, which I really like. And you might even get to hear the lovely Astra cat. She is giving her sad calls, which she does when she wants... I don't know what she wants. She's deaf. She can't hear anything. I can't even talk to her. So she's just over there crying. So she might join in. She might jump on my lap if you're lucky. But if you're not lucky, you'll just have to hear me and see me instead. So I'm coming up to the end here. So I'm going to end, since they already played one set of reels, I'm going to end with a set of flings, because I haven't played any of those yet. These are another couple tunes that didn't make it on the album, but I really like them as tunes. So the first one is called Murray's Fancy, and the second one is called Greg's or Grieg's Pipes. And again, supposedly a precursor to Craig's Pipes or Greg's Pipes, or whatever you want to call them that we play now. But I don't hear a lot of similarity in it. So I'm going to end with these. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you so much, Tom, for having me play this. I'm really sorry that there was some weird sound issues, and hopefully it still was enjoyable. And of course, if there's anything that you thought, wow, that would have been nicer without the interference, well, congratulations, there's a CD you can buy, well, a digital download that you can buy on Bandcamp, so please do. I would really appreciate it. If you haven't bought already, if you have, feel free to buy it again. You can only use the digital copy once, right? You can't copy them forever. And this is where having an audience would tell me whether what I'm saying is funny or just really dumb. So here we go. A couple flings for you for the end of this. Murray's Fancy and Greg's Pipes. Get all the drones on the drums. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Really appreciate it. Hopefully that sounded okay, Tom.
It got better. It got better a little bit towards the end. It comes and goes. I'm going to see what happens with the next act. I wonder if it has something to do with the new Zoom download. Maybe the settings got whacked, but
Mm,
I suspect it's something on your end.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. And I mean, I hooked up a good Ethernet cable. At least I think it's a good Ethernet cable, and tried my best. But yeah, uh, sometimes we have bad internet here, so I don't know.
It could just be that too. You never know. But I won't know until I try another one. So I'm going to do some testing this week and make sure
Yeah,
it's not on my end. But it could have been,
yeah,
it could have been
yeah,
a little bit of
yeah.
everything. It wasn't terrible. There was good,
Right.
there was parts where it wasn't there at all. So very enjoyable show. Thank you. Some great tunes, cool stuff that I have not heard before, and great playing, of course. Remember, Nick's got the new CD out. I put the link to it at Bandcamp where you can buy the CD digitally. Um, into the chat. I also put his donation link in there as well, and as well as one for Blue. Give what you can, buy some music. That's a great way to support artists, and you get something in return. Buy new CDs, and so all the best to you and the rest of the apocalypse here. I hope things go well for you and Ali both, and you're playing enough and getting some gigs here and there online, and all the good stuff.
Yeah. No, thank you, Tom, and same to you. I hope everything keeps going well, and I hope it is on my end, and that you never have to run into this issue again.
Yeah, I guess I'll find out next week or in a couple days when I start testing things cautiously.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'll have it figured out by next time, folks. I promise you. We'll be back next week with Lindsay Straw and Jordan Santiago. That's for Liana, who thought I pronounced that very word because I said it really crappily before, but I got it good this time. So come back and see that. Some great stuff coming up after that, and hopefully we'll see you all again soon in person someday. I'd love to have yourself and Allison back at Blue anytime that could possibly happen, Nick.
Awesome. We'd love to be back. It's a great place.
Cool.
I definitely want to come back. I hope it keeps going. So definitely donate to Blue as well. I really would appreciate that.
I appreciate that. All right, everybody, have a good night. Remember, as I always say, be nice to each other out there. That's how all get through this without any scars and come back strong in the new world. All right, thanks again, Nick. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.